Hello and welcome to another AIC video. So I just got back from like a week and a half trip traveling and I have a bunch of other stuff I need to work on, but I don't really want to. And so what I want to work on are these W530s I picked up. As I said in my last video, I'm going to do some upgrades on them, fix them up, clean them up. I'm going to keep one, sell the other one. And so I had some parts that were delivered while I was gone. So this SSD is actually the SSD, the exact SSD that I had in my first W530 when I started my big boy job that was given to me. And so I think it's only fitting that it go back in to another W530. The other one is just going to get a hard drive. I don't have, at one point I had bought like 10 SSDs for different stuff, and I've burned through them. I don't even know where most of them gone, so I don't have any just spare SSDs laying around anymore. So this one's going to get a 750 gig, or the other one's going to get a 750 gig Spinny Boy, and it's a WD Black, and will probably be the first thing that the person will chuck after they buy this off me, because I'm, like I said, I'm going to keep one, sell the other. Another thing I did, so one of them had these rails in it. I went ahead and picked this up because one of them is missing the door, but this also has like the actual hard drive cage and stuff that I wanted. So we're going to put that onto the SSD and put it into one of these and keep it. I picked up these. These are used. I'm going to test these out probably first thing. Let's get the camera. So these are 8 gig DIMMs for 32. So these actually have 4 RAM slots, 2 under the keyboard, 2 underneath. And what I'm going to do is one will be upgraded to 32 gigs of RAM with these. The other one will be upgraded to 16 gigs of RAM because I'll take the 2 4 gigs that are in here and put them into the other one. Now I did look up the serial numbers on these. They're only one number off from each other. So they were definitely bought like together, and they're spec'd the same. So they have 2 4 gig DIMMs for a total of 8 gigs, and that's under the keyboard on both of these. Another thing I did is pick up a couple of power bricks. These are 170 watt power bricks. These things are massive. I remember this is one of the reasons why I didn't want to keep a W530, because I was having to track it back and forth to work, and I hated carrying this. I think I ended up buying one at the time to have one at work and one at home, because this was a beast to have to carry around. And I did pick up 2 of them. So the plan is I have my rubbing alcohol, I have some paper towels. I'm going to wipe them both down, clean them up best I can, get some of the sticker residue off of them, and then once I'm done with that, we'll come back. We'll test the RAM and test the power supplies, and then install the storage, and we'll install some probably Windows 11 on them for now. I'm sure I'll get around to doing other stuff later, but I won't make you watch me sit and clean them. That part's boring. So we'll be back once they're cleaned up and we're ready to test this RAM, because I did buy this RAM used. I got it really cheap, so I'm kind of worried that it's not good, because I think the guy wanted like 30 bucks for it, or maybe 40 bucks, and I offered like 10 and he accepted it within minutes. So it makes me nervous that they might not be good, so because I bought them on eBay. Anyway, so yeah, we'll definitely need to test those. So we'll be back when we're ready to do that. All right, so I'm actually only going to be able to use one of the laptops to test the RAM, because I've been messing with them, so the battery died on both of them before I had proper chargers. And here's the correct charger that I ordered. And here's the other charger that I ordered from exactly the same place at exactly the same time. And they're 2 completely different plugs. So I've reached out to the eBay seller. Like, even the bricks look different. The fruits on them are different. If you look at the down here, the part number is a different part number. So it's kind of annoying because they look very, very similar overall, but this works and this does not. So I'm only going to be able to charge up the battery for the one to test the RAM. So I've actually had it plugged in for a few minutes now, long enough to see if it boots to BIOS and shows us the additional RAM. So let's go ahead and flip her over. And as you can see, this booted. It has 8 gigs of RAM. That's the RAM that's under the keyboard. So we have here the other two slots. Now this makes it easy to upgrade these slots, but kind of a pain to do the other ones. Not impossible, just I didn't feel quite right. Is that in all the way? There we go. Now these haven't ever been used, so I'm just gonna wiggle them a little bit, just make sure they have a good connection. And we're not gonna put the cover back on because it's not that big a deal. It's not that serious. All right. Let's see, and I cleaned the machines, but I did not clean the screen. I do have screen cleaner that I will need to get later. And it booted, perfect. F1 for BIOS. And it should show us 24 gigs, and that is correct, because 8 plus 16 is 24. All right, so those two are good. Let's try the other two. Same result here. Booted just fine, no errors. BIOS, make sure it's all recognized. And we have our 24 gigs of memory, so perfect. Those 4 gigs, those 4 DIMMs all work great, which actually surprised me quite a bit because of how little I paid for them. But that is awesome. Buying used RAM is a great option. RAM rarely goes bad, and usually if it's bad, it's like bad out of the gate, right? So you don't have to wonder if it's bad or not, because it's just, it can go bad over time, but it's not very common. So buying used RAM is usually not an issue. So what I'm going to do is, I think this laptop is the one I'm not going to keep. So I'm going to set this one to the side. And we will come back to it in a little bit. So it's going to get the hard drive. It's going to get the 4 gigs from, or the 8 gigs from this one, the 2 4-gig DIMMs. I'm not going to repaste the CPU on this one. I am going to repaste the CPU on this one because this is the one I'm keeping. I'll let that be for the person who purchases from me. I'll include the correct power supply with this one because I'll figure out what to do about the incorrect one myself later. Since I'll have this one set up before I even list this one online. So I only need the 1 power supply for now. It's annoying to only have 1, but it won't be the death of me for now. So let's go ahead and kind of clean up my workspace here a little bit, so we're only working with 1 system, and we will be back in a moment. All right, so we have our implements of destruction. We have thermal paste, we have a Windows 11 install, screwdriver, drive caddy, SSD, and RAM. So what we're going to do first is we're going to remove the keyboard to access the RAM and the CPU, so we can repaste the CPU and remove the old RAM and install more RAM. So go ahead and remove the battery. Then we have to unscrew all the screws that are labeled for the keyboard. So there's one under here, so we have to take this. The drain hole, we'll go ahead and take this off because we'll be in here in a minute anyways. Okay, I believe it's just the 2 screws for the keyboard. I'm not seeing any others on here, just this one and that one. Flip her over, and then it should slide up and then lift up. Sweet. And then this, yeah, pops out like so. All right, so doing the thermal paste is going to be a lot harder than I remember it being, because we have to take the whole palm rest. I thought we didn't have to, but we do. So let's take a look under this flap. Yeah, so we can get to these two screws, but we can't get to these two screws that are under this palm rest. So let's go ahead and remove some more screws. I believe this is for the WAN card, which we don't have. Wi-Fi, there's our RAM slots. Go ahead and pull those out now while I'm thinking about it. All right, close this back up. All right, I'm gonna go get a little tray to put all the screws in, because I don't think these are captive. So we'll be right back. All right, got my magnetic bolts, that way I don't lose the screws. There's a screw here I have to remove. Kind of hard to see through the camera. They should all be the same size, so we'll check them as we pull them out. Make sure. All right, so it looks like the one that's under here and under here are the short ones, and the rest of these are all the same size, because they're the same size as the keyboard screws as well so far. All right, so you pull that little brown tab up to unlock, and then we come off. Sweet. Now we have the speaker that needs to come off. Comes through this channel with a little tape. All right. Look and see if there's any screws holding the fan in place specifically. Looks like it's all one assembly. So we'll look at the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4. This kind of has a 7 next to it. 5, I'm guessing this is 6. So, I'm not trying to take you with me. So we'll just give these each a little bit of a loosen. The big thing is you just don't want to take just one screw off completely at a time. You want to loosen them. I like to loosen them twice and then take them off fully. Okay, so our last one, will screw it until it starts clicking. That's loose. That one's loose. Now we don't want to bend the heat pipes, but we'll go ahead and lift this up gently. Yeah, man. It's gonna be pretty stuck on there. Okay, we want to be mindful of these cables. Where are these all going to? So Wi-Fi and video cables all kind of pressed in here, so we need to be very careful of those that we don't yank on them. There we go. All right, so I did just have to wiggle it out. I just had to not try to do it around a camera and try not to bump the camera while I'm doing it. So the thermal paste actually doesn't look too bad on here. I'm still obviously going to repaste them and clean them up. It's funny, just to do a sanity check, I did a search on how to do this. And my video from like 5 or 6 years ago on doing a CPU upgrade on a T520 came up. Now, the thing is the heatsink has significantly less heat pipes on it. These, the plates are smaller. It is significantly less cooling for the T520 than it is for the W530. So, I know that this is a 45 watt CPU in here. So, that is something to consider if you're doing these. It is already set up for a 45 watt. I don't know if you'd want to go to the, I think the next step up is a 55 watt CPU. But you could easily put another 45 watt in here because it's already set up for cooling for that. Whereas some of the other systems I've looked at recently, where they came with a 35 watt CPU and upgrading to a 45 watt, there really isn't a good way to increase the cooling capacity of the system. This is already set up for 45 watts. Anyways, let me clear this, clean this thermal paste and get this heat sink back in there. I won't make you watch me wiggle it back into place, but it was pretty simple once I wasn't trying to do it around a camera specifically. All right, so we got the CPU cooler back in, put the speaker back on. Need to remember to plug in our video cable so our monitor works. Get that in there. Get these kind of hooked back into these little slots here. Again, sorry if I bumped the camera on doing this around a camera just on a tripod. I should, if anybody wants to donate me cash to upgrade my system with a recommendation, I'll take it, because make sure this gets seated fully and clips into place. You don't want to put too much pressure on this because you can break the plastic clip on the motherboard pretty easily, and then there's not a lot of ways to fix that. And I've thought about upgrading this to the older style keyboard, but I don't think I will. I've thought about it, but I don't think it's, for what I'm going to be using this for, I don't think it's quite worth it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and close the screen carefully, make sure no weird pressure. All right, let's get this clipped and screwed all back together. All right, so we have this drive. This is the new cover. This is the old cover, and they're functionally the same, but I think I like the old one more. So this will go to the new, or the other laptop. This one will stay with this laptop. However, we have, instead of the plastic bumpers, these are the rubber bumpers I know and love. We have the drive caddy. There's some screws floating around in here. There are 2 screws. There are 5 screws. Now, one thing I need to check is this screw hole, because the new guy does not have a screw in the door. I'm guessing one of these screws is supposed to meet this hole, because there's 5 screws, but only 4 screws on the side of the drive. So let's see. Yep, so that's the case there. So we'll put this guy into this hole. Set that to the side. And then for this, it goes in like so. And then this should, I believe it should go like this, or does it go the other way? Those holes don't quite line up. Let's try from the other side. Ah, much better. Those holes line up perfectly. Let's go ahead and cross our fingers. Boot it up. F1. And 32 gigs of RAM. Nice. All right, let's plug this guy in. That's our Windows 11 install. I'll need to find my screen wipes and clean the screen. I just don't want to use rubbing alcohol because I know you can damage the screen. 12. All right, I will install Windows 11. I have a whole video on creating a bootable USB to install Windows 11 on unsupported hardware. I'll link that down below if you're interested in it. While this is going through, I'm actually going to grab the other laptop. We're going to work on that one while we install Windows 11 on this one. All right, so we have the Windows 11 install going on over there. And let's go ahead and throw the RAM into this system and put the hard drive in it. If you were to buy this, would you want Windows 11 already installed? Do you even want this hard drive, this 750 gig drive? I assume you'd want the RAM, but I don't know. You tell me. This video is going on a bit longer. We'll finish up with the other one with the full clean install of Windows and a benchmark or something. And but I want to know what you would want. I'm going to sell this for, I'm going to list it on auction. I paid $250 for the two of them, so I'll list this for $125 plus the charger, which was 15 bucks, plus the that's really just it. I spent $15 on the charger, so 125 plus 15 is 140. I'll list it for 140 auction, and I guess you guys will let me know what you want it to see it for, pay for it, but you know, I guess we'll see. If you're seeing this more than 7 days after the after this video has gone live, this laptop hopefully will have sold by then. Install. No mouse support on here, so I'm having to go through the install by hitting tab and all that jazz. Still no. All right. Get these guys on there. Oh, gonna have to pick a different drive. These are too thin for this thick drive, so I'll have to be right back. All right, so dug through my hard drive thing, and you can see I have other drives that should be plenty thin enough for this. Oh yeah, perfect. So this goes in like this, and so we need to have the sleds with a thicker part on top. All right, and it's funny, the drain hole is here, and then the funnel for the drain hole is actually what keeps the drive from coming out. It's one reason why it's important to have these sleds on here, is it puts pressure against this to keep that drive in place. So going through. I tested this screw, didn't I? Oh, do you know what? It was broke, and so there's something here. All right, well, give me just a second. Let me take a look at that and see what's going on there. All right, so what that was, it was actually the old screw with just the broken plastic and a sticker covering it. So I removed the sticker. Now, what I'd like to do is pull this off, and we could retain that plastic guard. That will be a screw retention. but it is not wanting me to do that. So we'll have to play around with that a little bit more. On this guy over here, still installing Windows 11, I realized I'm probably a dum-dum and didn't plug this trackpad back in. The track point works, which is plugged in via the cable for the keyboard, but I have a little bit of a bump right here where those cables were. So I'm actually going to take this off when we're done here and see about fixing that. I didn't do a good job of laying those flat and plug the trackpad back in. I'm not 100% sure that's what's going on here, but I'm pretty sure. So we'll come back once this is done, and I have this screw the way I want it for this guy. So we can have a retained screw on that. I like that. All right, so I've been fighting Windows 11 for a hot minute. And the graphics driver keeps crashing out. Let me adjust my camera. So the Windows updates whatever it installed via the Windows updates for the NVIDIA Quadro just causes the computer to boot loop. So I had to boot in safe mode, uninstall the drivers, and reinstall. Well, I'm going to reinstall the drivers here in a minute. Hopefully I get through. But if you get a bunch of these that are these unknown devices, what you can do, so like this base system device, what the heck is a base system device? You double click on it, go to details, resources, here it is. So you can take this and you just search this right here. Just copy this, paste it in here. So first result is a Ricoh media card reader driver. So we can come back in here, go back, and then camera and card reader. And here we have the card reader. So if we come in here, it's for Windows 10, 32, 64-bit. Let's see if this is the one. So I hit this. Yes. Come in here, we'll see if that base system device disappears off the device manager list. And it did. And we'll restart later. And so I'm going to go through each one of these and get these going. This should be the graphics drivers directly from Lenovo's website. Actually click on that. I'll have it running twice now. So we'll get those cleared up and then we'll do a performance benchmark. All right, so I spent way too long trying to figure out the last few things I was missing in my drivers. I'll show you here real quick what we got. We still have the biometric coprocessor. Whatever this is. If anybody knows what that is, I'd appreciate. I tried all the fingerprint reader stuff and it just wouldn't install. And then this one, unknown device. So it looked like it was some power thing, but again, I couldn't find it. So if you could help a brother out, I'd appreciate it. I'll admit I probably shouldn't be making this video. I'm pretty tired. I've had a lot of travel recently, so but I wanted to work on these today. I still have my day off today, so I wanted to take advantage of that. Here's our CPU or our pass mark benchmarks. just comparison for everything else. Let me change the zoom on here real quick. All right, there we go. A little bit easier to read. So let's see here. There we go. So our score is obviously pretty low. This laptop is a decade and a half old almost at this point. A little bit less, 12 years old, 13 years old, something like that. It's pretty old. So we're not expecting stellar performance. But the CPU is actually quite good, especially for its age. Where it really falls flat is the 3D Mark. And it's mainly because it failed on the DirectX 11. Get rid of this. 12 and the OpenGL, and that's just drivers. Like honestly, the problem here is the drivers. It's running drivers, the newest drivers I think from 2020, which is now 5 years ago, and then it's almost a decade older than that. And so that's one problem with these systems that have the dedicated GPU is the driver set just gets out of date very quickly, especially the business class GPU. This isn't a GeForce. It's a Quadro K2000M mobile GPU. And they just never have done a good job of keeping these up to date with continuous drivers. It's literally one of the reasons why I got a 4070 in my P1 Gen 7, because I knew that the drivers for that would be updated more frequently and for longer than the business grade GPU, which is basically the same GPU, just certified for AutoCAD and things like that, right? So anyways, that's me refurbishing this W530. I don't have any specific plans for it. I just felt like it was a pretty good deal for what I was getting. I've been looking for one for a hot minute, and the prices just keep going up. So that's why I'm going to sell this one over here for as reasonable prices I can come up with. Hopefully it finds a good home after this video is posted and is able to bring somebody joy. I'm looking forward to using this. Again, I don't have a specific purpose for it yet, but very happy with it. I'm not going to upgrade the CPU. It has a quad-core 45-watt CPU. There are a couple of ones that are faster, but they're kind of the higher end CPUs, and so they're kind of they go for a few bucks. They're not like super expensive. Yeah, this is a 3630QM. It's a 45-watt 4-core 8-thread CPU. I'm not going to get much better performance or to justify the cost of stepping up. Like if this had a dual core i5, that might be worth investing in, but to get that extra 2 to 3% performance bump on something this old just isn't worth the investment. Batteries hold a charge, but it ain't much of one. Full charge original capacity, yeah, it's almost a quarter of what the original charge capacity was, 27%. 483 charge cycles. So yeah, the batteries are pretty tired on these, which is not unexpected. It is not unexpected for a system of this age, and it is what the laptop will come with. I'm actually surprised at that because the laptops seem like they have not a lot of use on them. So to have the battery, I'm wondering if it just mostly sat at somebody's desk and just sat plugged in all the time. That kills batteries pretty quick. So anyways, thanks for watching. I know this has been a pretty long video, and I hope you learned something and are able to get something from it. Thank you for watching again, and I hope you have an amazing day.